All right. So this is the final stage, or not stage, the final step of this stage, which is building the sole. And you can kind of see that from the last video. You didn't see me tape this, but I was concerned I didn't have enough weight and pressure pulling this down, so I taped it really, real good. And now I'm going to just take the tape off. And after I take the tape off, then I can start to sand the other side. But I think it did help gently taking this off. I just don't want to rip the paper going in this direction. I'll show you how I'm doing it a little bit here. Oops, see, it's already ripping there. Already ripping there. Maybe it's a better idea to pull from the bottom out. Prevent the rips from happening. A little rip here. I'm just gonna try to nip that in the bud. There we go, it's done. The top part I don't care about, but this is going to be exposed. All right, I'm going to fast forward. I don't think you want to watch me do the rest of this. I'm going to stop it and fast forward. Okay. All right, so I finished taking the tape off, and now I have my form done. And at this point, it needs to be shaped, meaning that since I have like the basis of this complete, I have the curve and all that, how I want it, I have the thickness and all that. That's the most important part. Now I can shape it. So if you look here, there's a bit of a diagonal here. So I want to create that same diagonal here, but it also kind of curves out. So it's almost like like if you put your finger there, it's the same kind of curve as your finger. So it does one of these things. So I want to make sure I try to replicate that. There's a little curve in here. I don't know. I mean, I could probably try to replicate that. We'll see. Because right now there's kind of like, it's like a divot. And I'll just try to sand that. And if I want to shape it a little bit more like that, I will. I might just kind of sand it nice and flat. I'm not sure yet. And the front of it, this thing kind of wraps around, it comes in the front. I might not include that part. It just looks like something that could be unnecessary, and I'm just gonna forget about it. And that's basically it. I'm just gonna wanna clean this up and sand it. This part I don't really care about too much. You're not gonna see it. It's just gonna be a hole right here. And this flat part, you're gonna glue all the tabs. Once you make these pieces, which is not that difficult, you're gonna glue it here. You're gonna do it piece by piece. And so you won't be able to see any of that. But to take it to this step, grab your sandpaper. This is 100 grit. And I think the 100 grit might be a little bit more easier. And if you do have an Ortable sander or a one of those vibrating sanders, they might work well. If you have a piece of 2x4, like a little small chunk you can put in here, it just gives you something more. I'm just gonna go by hand right now just to kind of, as a starting point. And I just noticed that will be fine. I'm a little loud and I have to be quiet. It's late at night. But if there's something that, like for example, do you see how this pops out? You can take your blade and slice it off. Don't want the blade too long. which seems to be a lot easier than sanding that down. But once you get it all down to a flat curve or a flat plane, then you're going to want to sand it down with this guy. So, yeah. You can kind of see I'm slowly just shaping and shaving. I don't think this will work, but maybe it will. Not too concerned about that. Anything that kind of sticks out, you can pull one of these things. Okay. Not concerned about that yet. Just looking for some big parts that really just kind of jump out. Try not to peel this paper up too much because it's cut all the way down the road, all the way down the way. So if you do this, it kind of lifts up the paper. I'm trying to keep it on. And I have most of it kind of there. So then I can go back to my sanding guy. I'm not going to sit here and sand this for you, but I'll just do a little spot. I'm just putting this right in my armpit. Now, I need to run to the store and get some more grit. And now that I'm starting to sand this might take a lower grit. I might even try an 80 and get it smooth. And then I would go up to a 150. And then after that, you can go up to a 320 or 220 and that will kind of smooth out everything. But it's already kind of looking a little smooth there. So I'm happy with that. As long as it looks like that right there, I'm fine with that. I don't know how well you can see that. As long as it looks like this all the way around, that's good. And my main concern was sanding this part down. It's a little better. I was just hoping to, it's it's not as pretty as it is on this side. And I wonder if by sanding it kind of unifies it and smushes it all together some way. That's not so bad. Yeah. You can see that this lip comes out, so that definitely can be, instead of sanding it off, you just want to shave it. Because, yeah. Shave what you can, sand the rest. Sanding is not the most fun activity, I will say that. All right, this little stuff here, maybe I can just like carve off it. That seems to work. I'm just trying to carve it off on an angle because it comes up so easily. Get out of here. I just don't have to rip out. And then when I sand the front, I'm just curious before I stop, see what this looks like. Constantly just take a peek at what you have going on. So that's kind of cool. Starting to smooth out, even out, and yeah, it looks a lot better once it's sanded. All right, so finish that baby up and you'll be finished the first stage.